you will have a long passage about some subject. After the passage, there will be some statements. Statements means questions. And what you need to do is to decide if each statement is true, false, or not given, based on the passage. What you need to do first is to read the statements. You need to have a rapid review or a rapid look on the statement. That means a fast look on the statements, on the questions. Then after that, you start looking for them. Okay? Now, let's see how to do that. The first one is a true. If the fact is clearly written or written as a synonym in the passage. If the fact is clearly written and, as a synonym in the passage and the information matches the statement. That means you clearly see it with your bare eyes. You clearly see it with your bare eyes, okay? So in this case, write true, okay? Now, let's take an example. If you have in the passage this one, this increase in cybercrime has alarmed many experts. The statement says, cybercrime is on the rise. The first thing we do is that we come to the synonyms or the clues, the words, the main words or the head words in the passage and in the statement. We have cybercrime and we have cybercrime. We have on the rise and we have increase. So in this case, it will match. In this case, it will be true. This is how we decide it's true. This is an easy one. Let's come here. If we have contractions, look for contractions such as some, only, never, always, everyone, no one, these things. Those contractions make the change. How? If they don't match each other, the statement with the passage, with the text, that means it's different. Please be careful and focus on this point because this is one of the ways on how they try to trick you in the IELTS test. For example, if you have this one here, in the question you've got here, tea with milk is always preferred by British people. Tea with milk is always preferred by British people. While in the text, that means in the passage, you've got this sentence, some people in England like tea with milk. Here we have is always preferred by British people. And here we've got here some people. So in this case, it doesn't match. In this case, we decide it's false. Okay, everyone? It's one of the ways on how they try to trick you, to deceive you in the IELTS test. Okay? This is one. Now let's come to false. Before we go on with false, have you got any questions for the true? Any questions about the true? How to decide is it true or not? No questions? Okay. Now, false. If the fact is clearly written, and gives different information or wrong information. If the fact is clearly written but gives different or wrong information or maybe opposite information, in this case it's false. And we also, when we have a contradiction, that changes the meaning as we have just explained. Now, let's come to the examples. If the question says, personal computers were first invented in 1990, personal computers were first invented in 1990, but in the text you've got here, the first personal computer was invented in the 1970s. So I think it's clear. 1990, 1970s, it's obvious, okay? So in this case, it will be false. As a contradiction here, all children should eat broccoli. Some children should eat broccoli. You have all and you've got some here. So we've got different contradictions which do not match each other. In this case, it will be false. Any questions so far? No questions? Clear. Okay, let's come now to not given, in which I want you to focus, please. Okay, not given here. when the fact is not written, nor was no wrong information written either. The fact is not written, nor was no wrong information written. In this case, it's simply not given. And maybe you don't find the sentence at all. Okay, everyone? Now, let's take examples here. We are having different examples about this case. The question says, rats are the most common nuisance Torontonians face. Then, here we read in the text, although once eradicated from Toronto, bedbugs have made a comeback and are now considered one of the leading pests in the city. Let's come to the words here, to the head words. Firstly, we have rats, and here we have bedbugs. Let's put them aside. Now, the most common nuisance Torontonians face. Here we have are now considered one of. One of. It's not saying the most. It's not saying not the most. It's one of. When you say one of, could be the first, the second, the third. We don't know. So in this case, it's not decided here. It's an ambiguous sentence. Here, it's one of. Could be the first one, could be the second one, could be the third one. So we cannot decide whether it's the most common or not. In this case, this sentence will be not given. Okay, everyone? Got the idea here? Have you got any questions? No questions? I will move to the other one. If we have them as, rats are one of. In the first one, if you notice here, rats are the most common, while here in the second one, rats are one of the most. Okay? And here in the text says, although once eradicated from Toronto, bedbugs have made a comeback and are now considered one of. We have one of, we have one of. It's okay. Ahmed is the best student. Okay, Ahmed is one of the best students and Muhammad is one of the best students. Both sentences could be correct. And both sentences at the same time could be incorrect. So we cannot decide here. In this case, it will be also not given. This is one of, and this is one of, which there is no wrong information here or correct information here to be decided. Any questions here? No questions? Should I move to the next one? Okay. Okay. But if we have them as here, rats are the most common nuisance Torontonians face. Although once eradicated from Toronto, bedbugs have made a comeback and are now considered the leading pests in the city. We have this one is the most common, this one is the leading pests. So we have here wrong information, different information, which give the opposite or the incorrect one. So in this case will be false. Okay, everyone? Is that clear? When we omitted one of, made the change. Let's take another different example here. Personal computers were first invented in 1970. There is a specified year in the question, while in the text, the first personal computer was invented in the 1970s. The year is specified here in the question, in the statement, while the year is not specified in the text, which means a duration of 10 years. Got the idea? Sorry. The 70s, that means is a time duration from 70 to 79. Could be 71, 72, 73, until 79. We cannot decide. So when we say 70, could be correct, could be incorrect. Could be the correct information, could be the wrong information. We cannot decide here. In this case, it will be not given. Okay, everyone? Is that clear? Yes, because the S means time duration here. Okay, any questions here? No questions? Thank you. Now, but if we have them the opposite, as the opposite ones, it will be true. How? In the question, personal computers were first invented in the 1970s. In the text, the first personal computer was invented in 1976. It's true. Why? Let me give you another example. I was born in the 70s. I was born in the 70s. Okay? Mr. Ali might say, Haidar was born in 1972.